The story begins with our protagonist and a couple of guys asking him to handle the cleaning by himself since they don't want to be late for their part-time jobs. He tells them not to worry, he'll take care of it, since, after all, he's the popular one among them. Though deep down, he thinks it's all just a joke. MC is a lonely boy who ends up doing the work alone because his late parents always told him to be kind to others, and that way, he'd never be alone. He also firmly believes that God watches over every good deed he's done, which is why he doesn't mind. He's sure his girlfriend will be there for him, after all, for someone with no family, she's all he has. Still, he wonders why she called him out so suddenly. Being the gentleman he is, he thinks to himself that it might rain today, so he should bring an umbrella for her. But on the other hand, we have an overthinker who thinks to herself that the protagonist should be arriving soon, it's so cold, or is he taking forever because someone asked for his help? That kind side of him can't say no. He's always helping people. And that's why she keeps wondering if it was because of that nature of his that he couldn't reject her confession and ended up dating her. Now that she thinks about it, she was the one who asked him out. But she'd like to see the protagonist's true feelings once in a while, so it shouldn't matter if she lies to him a little. Just then, the protagonist interrupts her thoughts, arriving at the scene and asking why she called him there. She responds with a mocking smile, revealing she's breaking up with him because she found someone she likes. The MC is left stunned, his thoughts a mess of frustration as he stares at her with bitter sadness. Meanwhile, she watches, convinced he's about to snap and show his true colors. She coldly informs him she's now dating an actor she met through modeling work, someone handsome, charming, and confident, unlike him. After saying all this, she thinks in her mind that MC would hold her and try to stop her. But to her shock, he simply thanks her for everything, leaving her confused. Why does she look hurt when he's the one suffering? Panicked, she asks if he's truly okay, and he forces a smile, assuring her he is. He's not charming enough to compete, but he won't make a scene. Ever the gentleman, he even offers her his umbrella, telling her to take it if she wishes him well. Damn, that hurt. Alone, he finally lets the tears fall. His parents had promised kindness would keep him from loneliness, yet here he is, abandoned because he wasn't enough. Time passed, and the winter of his first year of high school came to an end. Now, in the next spring, another girl watches for him, dressed in their old high school uniform. She got her high school uniform, and she thinks if the MC notices that she is also using the keychain that MC gave to her, so she hopes that MC would notice. For months since the breakup, his wounds are still fresh, so she hesitates to confess. Still, she yearns to stay by his side. When he finally appears, gloomy as ever, she teases him, asking why he looks so grim. He brushes her off, but she persists, prodding him about his loneliness. Why does someone like her bother with him? Annoyed, he snaps that, so she whispers in his ears, made him to say some wired noise, and cause of that she starts to tease him again. She talked about his gloomy face and warned him that if he kept that face, he wouldn't be able to make any friends that my bro needs. Hearing this, his patience wears thin, yet he stays composed and apologizes. This makes this girl worry for some reason, so she starts her annoying tone. She callously warns him that apologies make him seem weak and says that cause he was like that he was perceived as trash and unsociable. Okay, that's too harsh for MC. Anyway, but he swallows his anger, agreeing quietly. She scoffs, declaring he's nothing but trouble. He accepts this too, though it stings, since their accidental meeting after his breakup, she's done nothing but mock him. The list of kindness he did to others, but on that he still got dumped by his girlfriend and ridiculed by his junior, who he had become familiar with by chance. Were his efforts never enough? He questioned himself. Things couldn't get any worse. His ex was in his class, constantly making his life miserable. Every morning and afternoon, she found a way to get under his skin. And if that wasn't enough, his junior never missed a chance to mock him on his way home. There was no escape. So, he decided to seek refuge in his favorite cafe. At least there, he could have a moment of peace. Or so he thought. Upon arriving, he noticed a maid taking orders, telling customers to wait their turn. The two guys in line obediently complied, eagerly waiting just for her. That's when it became clear, this maid wasn't just any maid. She was infamous, known for her sadistic personality. With a wicked grin, she watched the customers fawn over her and muttered under her breath, calling them a bunch of pigs. Seeing her like that, the entire cafe seemed to light up, her admirers reacting as if she were some kind of idol. After serving other customers, she finally arrived at table number 2, his table. Spotting his gloomy expression, she smirked. You don't look happy. It seems like you need to be punished. Even though he showed up, he was still sulking. Fine. If insults were what it took to snap him out of it, she was more than willing to oblige. With a teasing glint in her eyes, she handed him his drink. Here you go, slave. Her declaration immediately drew jealous stares from the other customers. She turned to them and sneered. You're all just pigs to me. But he's my slave. She boldly announced that she would never call anyone else that. Only him. Because no matter what she said, he never reacted. How boring. The protagonist stared at her, wondering what had happened to her. When she first started working here, she was quiet and shy. Did the praise and attention twist her into this? The more people worshipped her, the more she mocked him. And that was the pattern of his life. Every time someone changed, they made fun of him. Noticing his silence, she snapped her fingers. Are you even listening? Are those ears just for decoration, or did your parents never teach you to look people in the eye when they speak? He was listening. But how was a kind person supposed to respond to this? He was tired of the same nonsense. He had done everything his parents taught him, he was kind, he was patient. But none of it mattered. He recalled all the things girls had said to him, his ex-girlfriend casually asking if he was really okay with their breakup. His junior sneers that he always apologizes for everything. And now, this made mocking him simply because he never reacted. And finally, he snapped. As she continued, don't just doze off in your own world. He slammed his hand on the table and shouted, how dare you call people that? The entire cafe fell into stunned silence. Even he was shocked by his own outburst, but he refused to take it back. I won't come back here again, he declared, standing up. She froze, her expression unreadable. Then, in a rare moment of vulnerability, she blurted out, you don't understand, I always smiled for you. I worked so hard just for you. His eyes darkened. It's just like you said, he replied coldly. You called me a slave. But that ends now. He turned away, taking one last glance at her as she reached out, trying to stop him. But she couldn't. He walked out, his heart pounding. Was that too much? Maybe. But for the first time, he felt free. That hollow kindness he forced himself to show? He was done with it. His ex cheated on him. His junior mocked him. His favorite senior only ever insulted him. His parents raised him to be kind, but everything built on that foundation was a damn lie. Was he destined to be alone? His mother always said she fell for his father because of his kindness. But now, he saw the truth, she had raised him to be a simp. His father had drilled it into his head that if he ever got mad, people would hate him. But now, he finally understood. He wasn't put on this earth to say yes to everything. From now on, he would speak his mind. This time, he's determined to break free and reinvent himself. First, he chops off his long hair, because, let's be real, it only made him look like an anti-protagonist. After the cut, he stares into his own eyes in the mirror, which doesn't entirely make sense to me, but hey, whatever works. He dives into self-improvement videos, builds self-respect, and transforms into an alpha. By the end of summer, he walks into school with a brand new look, turning heads as he passes. Meanwhile, in class, this girl named Akane is lost in thought, anticipating her next encounter with him. Before she can dwell too much, her friends call out to her, inviting her to karaoke, but she declines. They tease her, urging her to confess before she regrets it. She brushes them off as they leave, secretly wishing she could just spend time with her senpai. Walking down the stairs, she replays her friend's words in her head. How could she possibly admit her feelings without ruining everything? She's too embarrassed, too much of a coward. Maybe if she just sticks around, he'll figure it out and ask her out instead. Wishful thinking. When she reaches his classroom, she's surprised to hear from a random classmate that he already left. Strange, he always waits for her. Maybe he's sick? A perfect excuse to get closer. By sheer plot convenience, she manages to catch up to him. He looks different now, but those ears, those unmistakable features, confirm it. Target acquired. She refuses to let him walk away today and suddenly tackles him. "Senpai," she calls out. Annoyed, he shoves her off. "That hurt." She barely apologizes, instead teasing him. "Did you get so desperate for a girlfriend this summer that you'd beg me?" But when she finally looks at him, her smirk vanishes. She's shocked. His expression is cold. "Shut up. Your noise is giving me a headache." She freezes, stunned into silence. He continues, voice sharp, "What's with that summer break debut, anyway? Don't make fun of other people's efforts." She stammers, but no words come out. She can't even defend herself. He glares at her. "Why are you reacting like that?" "I'm just giving you the same energy you gave me." Akane stands there, just looking at him, her face unintentionally cute. He notices it too but quickly shakes the thought away. He scoffs, "Anyone is fine, huh? As long as you can laugh at me, right?" Tears well up in her eyes. "It's not like that," she whispers. She apologizes, her voice trembling. "You think I have to forgive you just because you're crying," he snaps. He turns to leave. Desperate, she grabs his sleeve. "Wait," she sobs. But he's already made up his mind. She pleads for him to stay, but in his head, he wonders, why is she crying? This is her fault. Things would have been better if she had just stayed the same. Their relationship is over. Besides, it's not like he cares anymore. His mental health comes first. And when it comes to girls? Well, he's not doing too badly. But we all know how this is going to go, it's only the first chapter. The scene opens with the MC saying goodbye to his junior. Even though the junior's heart is clearly shattered, he just sits there in silence, like it's straight out of a tragic emotional anime ending. The MC, meanwhile, turns inward. His inner monologue kicks in as he reflects on the decision he made, to cut off all ties. Ties with Koval, who mocked and scorned him, with his ex-girlfriend, who cheated on him, and even with his favorite maid, who crushed his heart without mercy. And then, boom, the scene jumps back 5 hours earlier. At school, the MC is walking to his classroom like it's any normal day. But today feels different. People are staring. Whispers floated around. Some girls ask each other about who he is, clearly impressed. The MC notices the attention and wonders, why is everyone looking at me like that? He starts thinking about how he's always been the friendless guy. But still, he feels a tiny spark of hope, maybe all the effort to change his appearance actually paid off. With that thought, he confidently continues walking to class. Inside the classroom, a group of boys is chatting about their summer crush stories. The moment the MC enters, the room pauses. The guys stare at him in confusion, they don't even recognize him. He silently walks over to his desk and takes a seat. Then, realization slowly dawns on everyone. He is the same guy, their classmate, just in a completely new skin. Compliments begin pouring in. They're shocked by his transformation. And the MC? He's feeling great inside. His inner monologue lights up, he exclaims with pure joy, saying he feels like he just leveled up like Jinwoo. He remembers every little step that brought him here, the skincare routines, the late-night workouts, the fashion research, the colored contacts, and even a simple, clean haircut. While his classmates continue talking about his summer debut, the MC reflects, at the very least, I changed what I could. But, the truth still stings a little. He's still friendless. No one's come up to talk to him. He tells himself he doesn't care about pleasing others anymore, not after everything. But deep inside, he still wonders, will anyone talk to me now? Just then, as if summoned by that thought, a girl calls out his name. He turns his head, and of course, it's her. The girl was the catalyst for all his change. His childhood friend. His ex Asakawa. He begins explaining in his mind who she is. Of Cause for Us. A current model, one of the most admired students in class, constantly in the spotlight. But to him? She's just the girl who dumped him last winter. Technically, he doesn't know the full story. But as far as he's concerned, that's what happened. She might be an idol to everyone else, but in his eyes, she's nothing but a heartless, villainous woman. Snapping back to the present, he coldly asks her, "What do you want?" With a mischievous tone, Asakawa smirks and says, "So, this is your summer debut?" Then she throws a jab. "Even if your appearance changes, it doesn't mean anything." The MC's anger flares. He admits to himself, her face might be beautiful, but her personality is absolute garbage. But he reins it in. He reminds himself, "I'm not the same person anymore." With confidence, he responds, "You can assume whatever you want." This catches her off guard. She's at a loss for words, clearly not expecting that. Watching her struggle to respond, the MC smiles. Seeing her confused ruins her perfect image, he thinks. He recalls the betrayal and hits her with a direct question. "Why are you so concerned about me?" He reminds her, and the class, that they're nothing more than strangers now. "We already broke up," he says coldly. The whole class gasps. Whispers spread like wildfire. People start connecting dots, realizing she just called him by his first name, and yet, he's saying they broke up? Asakawa panics. "That's not true," she blurts out. But before she can explain further, the MC cuts her off. "Why am I wrong?" he asks. "Weren't you the one who cheated on me?" Dead silence. The class is stunned. They weren't expecting this kind of drama, and now everyone's staring at Asakawa in disbelief. One of her fanboys can't believe it and demands answers, asking, "Is he wrong? Did you really cheat on him?" MC thought he'd hinder Asakawa's modeling career, so he never mentioned their relationship or her cheating to anyone. Even though it's in the past, if people knew she had a boyfriend it could cause a scandal, however that caring conscience. However, that considerate mindset for her well-being has long since faded. Now, everyone is turning against her, murmuring about how cheating is unforgivable and calling her the worst. Some even claim the rumors about her twisted personality are true. Asakawa tries to defend herself, saying it's not like that, but now everyone is questioning her character. The boys in class urge her to say it's all just a lie. One girl even comments that a bloodbath is about to start. MC watches as everything around her begins to unravel. There was once even a fan club that idolized Asakawa. Either way, she must be feeling extremely uncomfortable now. She glares at him while walking away, a smirk on her face. MC feels speechless, but also strangely satisfied and relieved by what just happened. For now, this is his farewell to Asakawa. Their separation is final. Suddenly, a teacher enters the classroom and asks everyone to take their seats. She reads the class register and announces that Asakawa will be absent for a while due to health issues. MC isn't worried at all. With everything that's happened, he believes it's only natural. Good grief, he thinks, everyone cried and moved on. As for his ex-girlfriend Yumi and the maid he liked, Ruri, he's decided never to go to a maid cafe again. There's still one more person he needs to cut ties with. On the way home that evening, he finally ends things with his kohai. She tells him she doesn't have the courage to speak, but he cuts her off before she finishes, telling her he doesn't care. He walks away, leaving her on her knees, crying and calling him senpai. MC realizes now that he's changed. The next day, his goal is to make friends. Sitting alone, he starts thinking about how to go about it, but quickly realizes that striking up a conversation isn't easy. He notices a classmate reading the same magazine he likes and finally gathers the courage to stand up and say, "Excuse me." However, the boy, Karyama, is distracted by a friend before even noticing MC trying to speak. MC quietly sits back down, trying to remain calm. Karyama's friend begins venting about having a fight with his girlfriend, saying she's not speaking to him and he feels depressed. Karyama asks how he feels, and the friend says he feels lonely and wants to die. Karyama tells him to hurry up and make up with her, and the friend agrees. MC just sits and listens to the conversation. On his way home, he feels disappointed that he wasn't able to talk to anyone. He thinks he might have been able to speak to Karyuma, but he was too caught up in a lover's spat. As MC thinks more about fights, he realizes he's never actually fought with anyone before. Was that recent confrontation with the girls a fight? He thought he had changed, but if he couldn't even express how he felt, was it really change? At home, MC starts doing push-ups. He's tired but manages to push himself to 30 reps before giving up. He never cared about working out before, as long as his clothes fit. But to his surprise, it's kind of fun. Looking at himself in the mirror, he wonders why he changed his appearance. He should be happy about it, but he can't help feeling something's wrong. The next morning, MC is woken up by his alarm and the sound of birds chirping. He ended up sleeping terribly, but there's no point in stressing about it. He's determined to become the best version of himself today. While running to school, he reflects on how he can't remain an introvert if he wants to make friends. That mindset won't change anything from before, and at this rate, he'll end up alone forever. He believes today will be different from yesterday. Since he shares common interests with Karyuma, he wants to try talking to him again. But suddenly, negative thoughts creep in. He starts to wonder if he'll just be annoying. Still, he cheers himself on, telling himself he needs to man up and approach him. At the train station, MC walks up the stairs, feeling the heat and eager to board the train. Suddenly, he notices someone familiar. While everyone else had cried and moved on, he still wonders why she's here at the train station, Kurosaki. She asks him to give her a chance, but MC questions what motivates her so strongly. He still doesn't understand. He asks her again why she's here, and once more, she asks him to give her a chance. MC then asks what kind of chance she's referring to. She responds that she wants a chance to be by his side. He's confused and asks what she means. She tells him it's because he was her first love. Yes, this is the story of Akane Kurosaki's first love. It was winter, during the third year of middle school. In class, students are chatting. One asks another if they've listened to the new King and King song, noting that it hit #1 on the charts and is really good. Another student mentions attending a Taniki Sisters live show. The two continue talking loudly, even though exams are approaching, and they really should be studying. Meanwhile, other classmates remain quiet. Kurosaki is looking at her phone, watching Saba Fiction's latest music video. She thinks it absolutely bumps, as always. She feels like their music supports her, even though the band is obscure and not widely known. While still daydreaming, a friend calls her name, asking what she's listening to. Kurosaki turns to her friend with a bad habit. She smiles and says she's listening to an obscure band called Saba Fiction. Sometimes she recommends their songs, though she doesn't genuinely like them. She often talks badly about such things. Her friend then asks if she's listened to the new King and King song, and Kurosaki exclaims, "Yep, it was so good." Suddenly, they hear two boys yelling. One is carrying a plushie, asking the other if he likes anime. The second boy tells him to knock it off. Kurosaki's friend mentions that the boy has a bad habit of bullying others and asks Kurosaki if she agrees. Kurosaki flinches, agrees, and points out that class is about to start. The boy continues by saying anyone with unusual interests quickly becomes a target. If others speak badly about them, they'll start speaking badly about themselves, too. That's why Kurosaki keeps her preferences to herself, to avoid bothering anyone. On her way home, she finds herself on the same train as MC, actually standing close to him. She thinks school sucks, but with exams coming up, everyone is focused on studying. She wonders if her high school of choice is still within reach. Everything seems fine for MC, but her own grades are a bit too low. Just thinking about the upcoming exam stresses her out. She pulls out her phone and decides to listen to Saba Fiction. When she puts in her earbud, the volume is too high, and it startles her. MC looks at her in reaction. She notices and apologizes, embarrassed that the Bluetooth had disconnected and the music came out loudly. she decided to get off at the next station. MC then takes out his phone and searches for the lyrics he just heard, eventually finding the song. On exam day, Kurosaki is on her way to school and looks nervous. She's overwhelmed by both the pressure of exams and the crowded train. To calm herself, she decides to listen to something, but suddenly, her earbud slips from her hand and falls to the floor. She doesn't see where it lands and is frustrated to lose it on such an important day. Although her stop is next, she feels helpless. Then, MC tells her he'll find the earbud and meet her at the station, urging her to go ahead. She tries to reason with him, but he insists she hurries. As she gets off and the train doors begin to close, she keeps running and then realizes something. MC's school uniform means he had to get off at the same station as her. There's no way he'll actually do what he said. She quickly dismisses the thought, reminding herself that she has to hurry. The morning had been rough, but she feels content with how she performed on the test. She knows she'll need to head home soon. Suddenly, she notices MC standing there, and she can't believe he actually waited for her. He calmly says, "Ah, you finally came." He hands her the earbud and advises her to be more careful not to drop it again. She blushes and thanks him. He casually remarks that he's glad there weren't any more problems. As she looks at him, she wonders if what he did was too much for someone just being kind. She calls out to him and mentions how he went out of his way to help her, then asks if maybe he's a bit of a playboy. He simply replies that being nice to people is his motto. She's left uncertain about what he truly meant. When he pulls out his phone, she notices Saba Fiction playing. Curious, she asks how he found out about the band. He responds by asking if she knows them. She says she was just wondering, and he explains that he happened to hear it blasting on the train and thought it sounded good. Kurosaki looks surprised. She tells him that seeing him looking so down makes her feel bad. She suggests that if he listens to Saba Fiction, it might feel like someone is quietly supporting him. He asks if that's really true, and she replies that she likes them too. Kurosaki had always criticized her tastes, so she never had the chance to share them with anyone. But MC gave her the courage to finally express herself. She tells him that once exams are over, they should talk more. The two begin to bond over their shared love for Saba Fiction. This new affection she's growing was once damaged by his previous girlfriend, leaving him emotionally worn down. So, if she were to confess her feelings now, she believes he would likely reject her. Her old habit of lying to herself begins creeping back. She can't be honest anymore. She spent her summer pretending, unable to show her true self. Back in the present, she's still apologizing, still promising herself that she'll be honest next time. That's what she wants, to throw away the cowardly lies. Finally, she asks him if she can stay by his side. She tells him it's because she likes him, and that he should let her stay by his side. He calls her by name and asks if she truly likes him. She agrees, and suddenly MC falls silent. He starts thinking about the words she once said to him, how with that kind of attitude, he wouldn't be able to make any friends, let alone get a girlfriend. He reminds her that, until now, she always ridiculed him and asks if she still doesn't realize how much that hurt him. How sad he's been all this time. He doesn't understand why she's bringing it up now. Even so, he had always blamed himself and accepted it. But now, it feels impossible. She yells that this is exactly why she's not joking today. He tells her no, that it's impossible. She gasps, and he reminds her that even after spending 6 months walking beside each other, he never once felt that she liked him. She tries to explain, and MC tells her that if there's someone you like, you have to cherish them, or else, they'll break. She admits that she was just being cowardly. She wanted to cherish him too, but was scared. Meeting him was the first time she realized she liked someone. She adds that he's the only one who knows she likes Saba Fiction. The only person with whom she can truly share what she enjoys, because they have the same interests. That's why the feeling of liking something doesn't always make a person happy. She begins crying. She says that he was recently dumped and hurt by love, and she was afraid that telling him she liked him might mean losing her place beside him. She feared her love for him would only hurt him. But in truth, the one she didn't want to hurt was herself. It was her own failure. So she apologizes. MC looks at her, completely speechless, while Kurosaki continues crying. He repeats some of her words and starts to understand. It was truly painful when he and Yumi broke up. He had loved her. His heart was shattered. But back then, he couldn't find the words to bridge their growing distance. The fear of expressing his feelings, of smiling in response to someone else's needs, that fear still lingers. Suddenly, he starts laughing. She notices and calls him senpai. He smiles and says that the two of them are both hopeless and clumsy. She looks at him and agrees, saying, "Yeah." Then, quickly moving closer, she asks if this means they've made up. He gives her a confused look and asks if they were even fighting. She stares at him, speechless. Kurosaki, visibly excited, asks if this is MC's first reconciliation. He simply replies that he guesses so. Her excitement grows as she wonders if it's really true. MC then suggests that they become friends. She's shocked. But after everything she's put him through, Kurosaki has no choice but to accept. As they walk together, she starts thinking. Only 1/3 of her feelings have been conveyed. Meanwhile, MC stands there quietly, wondering if what she told him was truly a once-in-a-lifetime confession. She said she likes him, and wants to stay by his side, so her feelings won't fade. Suddenly, she grabs his shirt and calls out to him. She tells him not to forget that she likes him. He replies with a simple, "Sure." But deep down, he doesn't know how to face her from now on. She then asks if it's okay for them to progress to being friends. She feels that's enough, but warns him not to lower his guard. He can't bring himself to fully trust it yet. She continues, saying that she won't hide her feelings anymore. He wonders if simply being by his side isn't enough for her. Then she says that from now on, she'll aim openly to become his girlfriend. While he looks away, she suddenly pulls on MC's ear and calls him again. He asks what she wants. She tells him not to ask what she wants, and whether he even heard what she said. MC confesses he didn't hear anything. So, she declares that they must go on a date this Sunday. She's determined to make him understand that she truly likes him. He looks nervous and quietly agrees. Now it's Sunday, weather check, schedule check, makeup check. Her outfit? Also a check. Kurosaki is ready for the date. At the train station, Kurosaki feels confident about being 15 minutes early, thinking it's perfect. Suddenly, she sees MC already waiting for her. She rushes to him and asks how he got there so early and when he arrived. MC asks why she's surprised and mentions that he's been there for about an hour. Kurosaki had imagined MC arriving late, apologizing for making her wait, and she would say she just got there. If it's for senpai, she can wait as long as needed. She expected this to happen. She even planned it. She's losing from the start of her own plan. She wonders if MC really likes her that much to be an hour early. Still, she's motivated to try and make him fall for her. As they walk toward a building, Kurosaki is reading the notes she wrote, while MC looks up at the big building. Knowing all about MC's interests comes in handy. First, they'll go shopping together and she'll pick out clothes for him. Then they'll go to a wonderful cafe for lunch. In the afternoon, they'll hit up an arcade and try to win prizes. At the end, her confession will be her revenge. MC then calls her name, snapping her out of her daydream. He suddenly gets closer and startles her by asking what she's looking at. She tells him that sneaking up on a girl is bad manners. He apologizes. MC is up for anything, but he just wants to know if she has something she wants to do. She mentions that she wants to go window shopping, and he suggests they do that after lunch. At the shop, he asks what she wants, and she asks if he has something in mind. MC starts thinking. While he's still deciding, she dismisses the question and starts choosing what she wants. She thinks about how good a hamburger looks, but she can't order one on a date. Then MC suggests it. She quickly asks if he wants a hamburger on their date. She adds that if he really wants one, he can have it. Now they are seated eating lunch. She got the hamburger, and she's happily munching on it. MC asks if she doesn't like it, and she says it's delicious. She adds that choosing the chili cheeseburger wasn't a bad idea. With her hand under the table, she looks at her notes and realizes she's failed her mission again. She then starts with small talk, asking if he has tried a burger before. He says no, and that it's his first time. He asks if she likes hers, and she nervously says it's all right. MC thinks it's good but really spicy, so he takes a sip of his drink. She's surprised because he doesn't handle spicy food well. Seeing his reaction, she wonders if he ordered it because of her. She believes she needs to take back control if she wants MC to fall for her. As they walk, she looks around for something. She grabs a dress and asks for his opinion on the style. MC says that anything would look good on her. After hearing this, she asks if he says that to just anyone. He says he only said it to her as a friend. She keeps replaying his words in her head. Now, all she can think about is MC. Later, Kurosaki holds two plushies and asks MC which one he thinks is cute. He says they're both cute and fluffy. She also asks if he's read a new book series, and he says he'll check it out later. She thinks her MC can't seem to decide between the two. They're now in a different store. She keeps thinking about how kind he is, but also how he's not showing his true feelings. Even though they're on a date, they're not getting any closer. She's feeling down when suddenly she hears music playing. It's Saba Fiction. She quickly pulls MC along. He doesn't seem impressed and tells her to check out the album Saba Fiction already released. She asks if it's good, and he says the piano feels like a desperate rush with cool lyrics on top, and that he likes it. She looks at him, thinking about how he only talks about what he likes when it's about Saba Fiction. Suddenly, she realizes she doesn't know much about her MC. She grabs his shirt and asks if he's having fun, and he says, yeah. She tries to believe him. At the cafe, he asks if anything is wrong or if she got tired from walking so much. He jokes that it looks like they put a spell on her food. She says it'll make it taste better. She adds that she'll order the handmade dry ginger ale frappé. Impressed, MC says he'll order the same. She reminds him that he's bad with spice and the drink is spicy. She gets closer to his face, asking if he really wants the same thing. He just says a word, eh. She then tells him she wants to know more about him. Confused, he asks if she means him.
On their way home, MC feels like he's failed. He wonders why Kurosaki has been so quiet since they left the cafe. Is she really having fun with someone like him? Suddenly, he stops and asks her, despite his efforts to keep his distance, if she really likes him. Caught off guard, Kurosaki answers without hesitation. Yes, in fact, she loves him, so much that ever since the day he found her lost earphone, he's been the center of her world, but she feels like today's date didn't let her show her true feelings. MC calls her name, but she asks him to trust her more. Looking down, she tells him they can't just be friends, and then she runs off, leaving him standing there in shock. MC's biggest flaw is his fear of getting hurt, and once again he's left wondering, how far is he really willing to go for Kurosaki? But this time something's changed. Kurosaki, who could never be honest before, finally opened her heart. That sparks something in MC. He suddenly takes off running after her, desperate to catch up. When he finds her, she's tearing up the notes she wrote for their date. Someone else nearby picks up one of the scraps and wonders what it is. As MC gets closer, he calls out her name. She looks up, surprised. He tells her that he believes in her love. She calls him senpai, and he apologizes for being such a coward. But now he's ready to believe in her, seriously. Moved, Kurosaki starts crying again. Mc holds out his hand, asking if they can be friends. But instead of taking his hand, she slaps it away, and then she walks off. Mek stands frozen. But Kurosaki stops, turns around, and declares, I absolutely won't be your friend with confidence. She says it clearly. She wants to be his girlfriend. Mek calls her name, smiling now. He finally understands they're not friends, but he trusts Kurosaki. Meanwhile, the person holding the scrap of paper looks at it. It reads, I'm going to confess to Senpai. Yumi, shocked, she realizes something. Mek cut ties with the Kohai who once mocked and belittled him. That same girl now has a crush on him. She crushes the paper in her hand. Unable to believe it at the cafe, a maid greets a new customer. It's Ma again. After cutting ties with the Kohai, his relationship with Kurosaki seems to grow stronger. Even after a small argument, she smiles and asks, so, when's our next date? MC asks why. Kurosaki, without holding back, suggests next time they should go somewhere he likes, maybe Akihabara. The next day, they meet at Akihabara Station. Kurosaki is buzzing with excitement. MC, on the other hand, seems a little less enthusiastic. She teases him, saying, since you brought me here, this must be a date, right? He frowns. We're not even dating. How is this a date? She smirks. If a girl says it's a date, it's a date. Besides, we'll officially be dating soon. Meek laughs and calls her confident. She tells him this is going to be a maid service date with her. Meek isn't impressed. Wait, are we doing cosplay? You got permission for this, right? Kurosaki brushes him off. Of course, there are shops that allow it. Now let's go to the game center. She grabs his hand, squeezing it tightly, and pulls him along. While walking, Mifi reflects on how close Kurosaki has been since then. But suddenly, someone says, hey. MC looks back. No one's there. Someone's watching them, hiding. He wonders if he imagined it, but can't shake the strange feeling. Later, inside a store, MC is trying to win a plushie from a crane game, but fails. Kurosaki says the claw is too weak and walks off to get change. Alone, MC waits. Meanwhile, Kurosaki spots a maid costume and considers it for her maid strategy. She wonders if it's already rented. Still alone, Mem suddenly hears someone say hey again. He thinks it's Kurosaki, but there's no response. He turns, and it's not her. Standing in front of him is a girl with shiny hair. He asks what she's doing here. She smiles. It's been a while. I came to see you. It's Ray-chan. Surprised, he steps back and asks who she is. Her expression freezes in shock. She introduces herself as Maid Dream's Ruri and insists he should remember her. In disbelief that he doesn't recognize her, she keeps pressing him. He asks why it even matters. She explains she's always wanted to talk to him outside the usual context. She wanted to thank him, and also apologize. Her real name is Odo Hori. Back then, she was like a robot. Other students talked about her constantly, but she never reacted. She simply stood there, expressionless. A top-performing nerd praised by everyone, but she only listened and kept walking, never saying much in return. Whenever she helped someone, just hearing her say their name made them excited. Even if they'd met her only once, they saw her as something special. She was basically an idol, admired, respected, idealized. But beneath all that, she was just going through the motions, responding politely, emotionless. Becoming what others expected, her weekly schedule was always packed. No breaks, no time to rest. Everyone had high hopes for her, but she felt drained. One day, while heading to the station, she was reading messages from her older sister asking her to pick up a reference book from a bookstore in Akihabara. Wanting to be the good sister, she set out to find the store, but she had no sense of direction. While wandering the area, she came across a maid cafe with an ad that said, "Become a better you." The word stuck with her. Could she become someone new? She even considered working there part-time, but reminded herself she had to find the bookstore first. Then someone spoke to her. It was Misi. He asked if she was planning to enter the cafe. Caught off guard, she hesitated. He then asked where she was headed, and she told him about the bookstore, and pointed her in the right direction. Lost in thought about how kind he was for a total stranger, she barely listened to his directions. As expected, she got lost again, modest, and offered to walk her there himself. She asked how he knew she was struggling, and he just said he had free time. It wasn't scary anymore, so she agreed to follow him. Along the way, he asked what kind of book she needed. She explained it was a reference book for her sister. He asked if she cared about her sister a lot and mentioned the bookstore had several floors with all kinds of books. She was impressed just hearing that. He then asked if she liked reading. She said yes, but only the books recommended by others. She'd never chosen one for herself. She admitted she struggled with making decisions, always relying on others to choose for her. Suddenly, she realized how much she was revealing to someone she barely knew. Embarrassed, she apologized and stopped talking. But Mamsi didn't make her feel awkward, he said. Sometimes, it's easier to open up to people who don't know you at all. When they finally reached the bookstore, he told her to enjoy exploring and to try choosing something for herself today. His words stuck with her. For once, she felt excited to make a decision without anyone else's input. But when she left the bookstore, he was gone, just disappeared. No goodbye, no thank you. Not even a name. A few months later, she finally decided to start working at the maid cafe. She knew she couldn't change her outer self right away, but in that extraordinary place filled with whimsy and play, acting, she felt she could be someone different, someone free. She wanted to start making her own choices and hoped that if she ever returned to Akihabara, maybe fate would let her see McKay again. Then, one day while working, she greeted a customer and was stunned. It was him. Mick had come in looking a little worn out and gloomy. Though shocked, she chose not to reveal who she really was. As he sat down, she observed his tired eyes and decided she wanted to be the one to help him this time. And this time, introducing herself as Rie, she said she'd be his waitress for the day, greeting him with a bright smile and calling him master, wishing this strange yet meaningful moment could last forever. Back in the present, MC looked at her with suspicion, asking why she had come to him now, wondering if she wanted to mock him again. She begged him to listen, but he coldly refused, saying he wasn't the same weak person she once called an unresponsive slave. He said he could express his emotions now and didn't want to hear her out. As he told her to leave, she said he was right, he had changed. But she explained that she too had been a slave in her own way, constantly acting to please others, always pretending to understand, always playing the perfect role, never even realizing she was losing herself in the process. She confessed that she had misunderstood him back then and sincerely apologized for the hurt she caused. He asked if she wasn't scared despite all his shouting, and she admitted she was, but reminded him of something he might not even remember. Last winter, his words had saved her. He had shown her the way, literally and emotionally. That day, she was afraid she'd never get to see him again, so when she saw him today, she thought it might be her only chance. Hearing that, Minnie paused, then gently said her name, letting the silence settle. He thought to himself that maybe if things had ended back then, he wouldn't be facing this emotionally awkward moment now. But then he quietly acknowledged that she had changed too, just like everyone else. She now had the courage to tell him what she truly felt. He apologized as well and asked if they could make up. She was about to cry and asked if they could meet again. Unsure of how to comfort her, hesitated, worrying about what might happen if Kurosaki showed up, and of course, right at that moment, Kurosaki appeared, catching him standing there with a girl who was clearly upset.
Trying to explain himself, MC awkwardly stammered that it wasn't what it looked like. Kurosaki looked between them, then swiftly stepped between the two, asking why MC was making Ruri-chan cry. MC was stunned that Kurosaki was actually defending her. Kurosaki turned to Ruri and gently told her that MC could be a little socially awkward and make dumb mistakes, and asked if she was okay. Ruri replied that she already knew that about him. Still confused, MC asked what that was supposed to mean. Kurosaki added that he's just naturally clumsy, and again Ruri agreed. Half joking, he asked whose side Kurosaki was even on, and with a grin, she said they were just having a fight and making up. She then introduced Ruri as an employee from the maid cafe. Defeated, MC dropped to his knees and solemnly declared that he would reflect on his actions. Shocked by how overly dramatic he was being, Kurosaki looked baffled, and Ruri softly said it was okay. That she had been in the wrong too. Watching the two of them, she then commented on how close Kurosaki and MC seemed. Kurosaki excitedly told her that they actually went to the same school, and then properly introduced herself. Ruri smiled gently and mentioned how lucky Kurosaki was to have such a cute junior, clearly referring to MC. He could only stare in silence as the two girls talked. Meanwhile, Ruri clutched at her dress, watching MC interact with such a cute girl, and unable to stop herself, she suddenly asked if the two of them were on a date. Kurosaki instantly grabbed MC's hand and said yes, proudly declaring that they were out to spend time together. Ruri paused, clearly affected, but then forced a smile and said it looked like they were having fun. She apologized for interrupting and said she was glad she got to meet Kurosaki. Kurosaki takes Rurai's hands warmly, saying she's glad they met and that it's the first time she's ever seen MC interacting with someone else. Rurai agrees, admitting it's her first time too. As they wave goodbye, Rurai walks away, thinking about how kind Kurosaki is, and how she's the one standing beside MC now. After she's gone, Kurosaki teasingly asks MC if beautiful women are his type, which makes him stutter nervously. As Rurai walks away, she glances back at them, conflicted. MC, meanwhile, reflects on how Rurai had always waited for him, even when he was closed off and gloomy. When he finally started to open up, she smiled gently and told him it was okay, listening kindly without judgment. That smile was really cute. Kurosaki then snaps him out of his thoughts, saying Rurai seems like a good person. After all, she came all this way just to apologize. But then she adds, half joking and half serious, that it might be a little concerning for someone who's clearly trying to get closer to him. Meanwhile, Rurai is troubled by the thought of MC getting a girlfriend. If that happened, he might stop coming to the cafe. And she doesn't want that. She thought she'd be satisfied just by apologizing and thanking him for helping her back then, but she's finally realized something: she likes him. Back at the arcade, Kurosaki is still playing the claw machine, trying to win a plushie. MC tells her he's stepping out for a bit and starts walking. He never expected to meet Rurai again, but he's honestly glad they got to talk. If she hadn't come today, he knows he would have regretted it. Deep down, he's grateful she showed up to make peace. Just then, someone grabs his hand. On the other side of the arcade, Kurosaki misses the plushie in size. Maybe it's just not my destiny. Meanwhile, MC is suddenly greeted by the scent of something sweet, confused as melons press close to his face. He tries to stay calm. It's Rurai. She apologizes and, before he can react, pins him against the wall. She's so close, he can barely breathe. Confused, he asks what's going on. Rurai tells him she's realized she doesn't want to remain a stranger to him. She wants to be by his side, afraid that if she waits too long, someone else might take him away. MC is left speechless. She leans in even closer and says she wants to be his girlfriend. Still pressed against the wall, he nervously says her name, but she stops him. Don't call me Rurai-chan, she says. She leans in and whispers, call me Rurai. Then she looks him in the eye and confesses, I like you. MC is stunned and can only mutter, really? She smiles and tells him it's his turn to decide. He still can't believe this is real. When she calls his name again, asking if something's wrong, he stammers that he can't choose yet. She asks if there's something wrong with her, but he says, no, there's nothing wrong with you. He admits he doesn't know how to be in a relationship right now and that he's still unsure what love really means. He likes her, as Rurai, but he doesn't feel ready. She wonders if Kurosaki is the reason for his hesitation, but he quickly denies it, flustered. He tells her he trusts her more than just a friend, but she doesn't look convinced. She tells him she'll forgive him if he agrees to start exchanging messages, and he says yes. Before parting, she tells him she'll see him later. After she walks away, Rurai kneels down, feeling both nervous and determined. She's sure she'll become his girlfriend. When MC returns to Kurosaki, she notices his flushed face and asks what happened. Then she suggests they head back and teases him about how disappointed he must be that she didn't put on a maid outfit. She adds that she could wear one for him any time. MC just folds his arms while she cheekily reminds him, her goal is to be his girlfriend. MC thinks about it. He's grown closer to Kurosaki lately, but he doesn't really know Rurai that well. And now, he's caught between the two. As they leave the arcade, Rurai warmly tells MC and Kurosaki that they're welcome to visit her at the cafe anytime, and later that day, the three of them find themselves at the maid cafe after school. MC silently reflecting on Rurai's sudden confession, unsure of how to process it, while Rurai approaches with a smile and hands him a menu, clearly still his favorite despite everything, and Kurosaki, tagging along out of curiosity, remarks how adorable all the maids look, radiating genuine excitement that MC can't help but notice, though he tries not to let it affect his mood. After all, she's here, and that's enough for now. Rurai formally greets them in full maid mode, calling them master and lady and wishing them a dreamlike experience, but even as she smiles, a shadow of worry flickers in her eyes. She hadn't expected Kurosaki to come along, and while she watches from a distance as they enjoy themselves, she tries to reassure herself that it's okay, that she's already made her move and told MC how she feels, that she still has a chance, that she can butt in if things get too cozy, and with that self-pep talk, she heads to their table to take their order. Kurosaki chooses a moyen parfait while Ruri asks MC if he wants his usual, the Momo Jonjaen tropical juice, which he acknowledges. With a small smile, surprised she remembers, of course she does, she tells him, and begins fantasizing about how deeply she knows his preferences, but then he says he'll have a mofil crepe today, and that completely throws her off, because it's the item they picked together on their very first visit and it feels like he's sending a signal she can't quite interpret, though she tries to act casual. Kurosaki, meanwhile, comments on how MC is finally starting to make his own decisions, surprising Ruri further since he was never the type to take initiative, and when Kurosaki tells him it's okay to be himself, he gets flustered and tells her to stop embarrassing him. Ruri begins to realize that Kurosaki isn't just some outsider, she's someone who's becoming more and more important to MC, and though she pushes the thought away, insisting to herself that he came here for her and that there's still hope, a crack of doubt starts to form. She brings out the food and suggests doing the usual cafe routine, which confuses Kurosaki at first, but soon she and MC are holding a stick with a heart on it and performing a silly, charming celebration, something they've done many times before and something that Kurosaki watches with surprise as their shared memories become more and more apparent. After it's over, Kurosaki playfully asks MC if he's really serious about all this, and he replies that it's fun, which prompts Ruri to cheerfully say how happy she is to take a Polaroid photo with him again, reminiscing about how it's been a while. But when it comes time to pose, she notices something off. He's not holding her hand or touching her shoulder like he usually does, and when she asks him to step closer, he awkwardly refuses, saying he's fine where he is and brushing it off with a half-joke about her being an idol and him just a fan. She tries to push past it, hoping to return to their usual rhythm, but MC calmly tells her that even if she didn't ask to be his girlfriend, he'd still come to see her because they've made peace and because he genuinely supports her. He just doesn't want her to misread his kindness as something more, and with that, he walks away, leaving Ruri standing there, barely able to say that she was serious about everything she said. Before she can dwell too long, Kurosaki calls out, asking if they can take a picture together, and though Ruri is still shaken, she agrees, telling her to come closer, and when Kurosaki says she had a lot of fun today, Ruri replies softly, "If that's the case, I'm glad." Suddenly, Ruri starts to feel like everything around her is a dream, even though her feelings are real, even though she's really in love, but before she can get lost in that thought, Kurosaki calls her name, grounding her back in reality. Ruri then tells Kurosaki that she overheard her words at the arcade that day, that she knows about her feelings for MC, and even though it might not be fair, she wants her to know that what she wrote on the Polaroid was sincere. Kuromaki understands without saying much. Later, while heading home, MC mentions he had fun and Kurosaki agrees, smiling while looking at the Polaroid photo, which prompts MC to curiously ask if it's signed, but she hides it away saying it's a secret between girls, making him pout a little. Suddenly, he gets a message, checks his phone, and quickly tells Kurosaki to go on ahead because he has something to take care of. She agrees, but with a bit of hesitation, mentioning she wanted to go home with him, but he insists and promises to see her next time, leaving her a little confused. Meanwhile, Ruri, at her part-time job, reflects on MC's question about whether she was just a clerk, thinking about how seriously she meant what she told him, how even though they're just clerk and customer, those words meant a lot to him. Then MC gets a message from Ruri, warning him about stalkers and saying she wants to go home with him. Waiting at the station, he starts overthinking everything. If a stalker appears, can he protect her? What if they're stronger? But if they're weaker, maybe he can manage either way. He reminds himself that Ruri is scarier than any stalker and decides he's going to walk her home safely no matter what. She suddenly appears, calling his name, apologizing for being late. He's momentarily stunned, not recognizing her at first until she tells him it's her off-mode look. She quickly hushes him not to talk too loud in case her stalkers find them, admitting she lied earlier because she could feel him trying to put distance between them with the whole clerk-customer excuse. He's too kind, she says, and she knew he'd show up. She confesses she wants him all to herself and asks to walk home together, which he agrees to. At the station, MC feels oddly relieved there are no stalkers, and Ruri mentions how happy she is to walk beside him. Noticing she seems brighter than before, he asks if she's changed. She jokes it's her rebellious phase, then opens up, telling him how her overprotective parents always controlled her choices and when she failed, they'd always say "we told you so," which slowly killed her ability to think for herself. When asked if her current job was her parents' idea, she says yes, but adds this is the first time she stood up to them and told them what she truly wants, something she could only do because of him. MC brushes it off as exaggeration, but she insists that to her. He's a special person, someone she really likes. When he questions the word special, unsure of what that even means, she looks at him seriously and says that even though she has fans, even though she's popular, she doesn't care if being with him brings complications. She wants to be by his side. She holds his hand and tells him that she's ready to leave behind who she used to be because she knows now that staying stagnant won't get her anywhere, and all of this clarity is because of him. She tells him she's quitting her job, she's being serious, and even if he doesn't fully get it, that's okay. Then, looking him right in the eyes, she asks him if he can go out with her. MC stands there torn. He likes Ruri, but he barely knows Ruri, and the memory of guiding a lost kid named Ruri years ago feels like a distant dream. He's no longer sure what the right answer is. The Ruri standing in front of him looks like she's about to cry, her hands are cold, and she's visibly shaking. MC thinks if he rejects her now, Ruri will be heartbroken, so maybe the kind thing would be to just accept her feelings. He starts questioning his own past with Yumi, wondering if it began the same way back then too, but even as he accepts Ruri's confession, something feels off, a bad feeling lingers. He replies with a hesitant "well then," and she immediately questions why he said that. He admits it's because she looked like she was about to cry. She sighs and directly asks if he likes her. Scratching his head, MC struggles to respond but finally says he doesn't know. With a forced smile, Ruri asks if he'd react the same way if it were another girl about to cry and confess. MC stammers, trying to say something but only manages an before she suddenly slaps him across the face. He's stunned, unable to process what just happened. She says a bitter hello as tears run down her cheeks, admitting she doesn't want to hurt him, but if he seriously thinks this is love, even 10 or 20 years from now, then she won't regret anything. MC can only think about how she still ends up crying in the end, and how even without any stalkers involved, he still couldn't protect her or bring her home safely. Wanting to do at least something, he hands her a cloth to wipe her tears. She points out that she's wearing makeup and had a handkerchief of her own, but he insists it's okay, he never meant to make her cry. He still doesn't know if he likes her, but he liked the version of Ruri who laughed in the maid cafe. She calls him a seducer and as they continue walking, she says she'll wash and return the handkerchief, even though he was actually giving it to her. She tells him he doesn't understand love and adds that she wants an excuse to meet him again because she has no intention of giving up. She walks off, leaving him once again confused and alone, a heavy feeling settling in his chest. MC realizes that more than not wanting to hurt her, he really just didn't want to hurt himself. He's been unconsciously projecting Yumi onto both girls, assuming betrayal before it ever happens, even though they're clearly not her. It's an obvious truth, yet one he can't bring himself to face. Doing so would only end up hurting them more. He knows now that he's the one who has to take responsibility and act. That night, like many rainy nights before, he has the same dream. Yumi, laughing beside a man he doesn't recognize. When she notices him standing nearby, she talks to him, and he always replies with the same words as he did back then, and yet it still hurts every time. He wakes up on a park bench, looking at his watch and noticing everything's going according to plan. MC waits for Kurosaki and Ruri, and when they arrive, they're surprised to see him already there. Ruri points out that he showed up an hour early, but he turns the question back on them, asking why they're an hour early too. It turns out Kurosaki found Ruri lost at the train station and brought her along. She has no sense of direction and often gets lost. MC is surprised by how quickly the two seem to have gotten close. As they sit and chat, they eventually ask what it was he wanted to talk about. Nervous and sweating, MC reflects on everything that's happened. He realizes being half-hearted isn't kindness, it's cowardice. That's what both girls taught him today. He looks down, takes a breath, and apologizes, saying he can't date both of them at once. Closing his eyes, drenched in sweat, he waits silently for their response, knowing that this time, he has to face whatever comes next. Kurosaki says she knew it all along, and Ruri agrees, noting it's just as she thought, now he's the one caught off guard. Kurosaki reveals they had already figured everything out, they knew there was no way MC would call them both out just to choose one over the other. MC is visibly shocked as Kurosaki presses him, asking if he truly intended to choose between them. Ruri begins to cry and apologizes, but MC quickly clarifies that he's not rejecting her out of dislike, it's just not the kind of mutual love she might have hoped for. Ruri stops crying and smiles, while the two girls hold hands. Kurosaki then demands a reason for his rejection, calling it a parting gift. She suspects he never saw her as a woman. But when it comes to Ruri, she really wants to know why he turned her down. MC, flustered, begins explaining. It all started when his ex-girlfriend broke up with him unexpectedly. They had been fine the day before, no fights, everything seemed normal. MC had truly cared for Yumi, cherished her, but then she not only dumped him, she accused him of cheating. That betrayal left him afraid of falling in love again. Kurosaki, curious, asks how exactly Yumi betrayed him, and MC recalls how she coldly told him, "I don't know what you were thinking. It's not funny. I didn't know I was dating an actor." The memory is so painful he collapses to his knees as Kurosaki and Ruri tell him that's enough. Though Yumi had accused him, she still asked if it was okay, and he complied with her wishes to the very end. The girls quietly observe him before declaring that, as women, their instincts tell them he's an idiot, which they say to his face. MC just accepts it, looking hopeless. Kurosaki then asks if he ever held Yumi's hand when they went out. Confused, he responds, "Eh? Why?" She repeats the question, and he admits their hands would sometimes bump into each other while walking. Kurosaki insists that he talk to Yumi again, which surprises him. She says that if he doesn't, he'll never be able to change. That word, change, echoes in his head. Kurosaki and Ruri offer to help him try again, despite being rejected themselves. When MC asks why they're helping, Kurosaki cheekily says it's like sending salt to your enemy, while Ruri adds that there are benefits for them too. They both joke that his rejection of them is on hold. Their spirits lift as MC's reconciliation plan begins. It's been a month since he last spoke to Yumi. On the train to school, MC reflects on how this is his third time being dragged into Kurosaki and Ruri's schemes, and as always, his stomach aches. He regrets not speaking up the day they parted. Though he accepted her decision back then, he's always carried that regret. Kurosaki and Ruri send him encouraging messages, and he resolves to have a proper conversation with Yumi. In class, however, he sees her surrounded by boys, laughing and chatting, and feels awkward about interrupting. Unsure if it's even okay to approach someone already with others, he hesitates until she notices him and smiles. Unable to speak to her directly, he decides to leave a letter for her before class resumes. But when Yumi enters the classroom, she finds the letter and throws it in the trash. MC notices the letter in the trash and sighs, assuming Yumi mistook it for garbage. She looks at him as he sighs, but he's not discouraged. After all, the letter was just a backup plan. Maybe he should wait until she's alone during the break. Still searching for the right moment, MC watches as Yumi stays surrounded by classmates, mostly boys, and wonders if she's building a wall around herself. He takes a chance and greets her, but things quickly get uncomfortable. She avoids eye contact, and one of the boys steps in, asking what he wants. Another says they're busy and tells him Yumi doesn't want to talk. As MC tries to explain, they glare at him and tell him to go back to his seat. Just then, a teacher walks in to start homeroom, forcing everyone to sit down. Confused and disappointed, MC wonders what just happened, while Yumi continues to smile at him with a satisfied look. That evening, he calls Kurosaki and Ruri in a panic, calling it an emergency. Kurosaki complains it's too early, but Ruri suggests giving it one more try, acknowledging how awkward it can be to talk to an ex-MC Vents about Yumi's bodyguards getting in his way. When Kurosaki asks who Yumi really is, he casually replies that she's just an ordinary model. Ruri asks if he got to speak with her directly. He says he tried, but her friends chased him off and claimed Yumi didn't want to talk. When Ruri asks if Yumi herself said that, he admits she didn't. Encouraged, Ruri tells him he still has a chance, lifting his spirits. Kurosaki points out how easily MC responds when people say things like "I'm in trouble" or "I need help," and Ruri adds that they'll need more allies to get through to Yumi, since it's not just her they're dealing with. She then asks for a favor, saying she has no classes tomorrow. MC hesitates, unsure if it's the right thing to do. The next day at school, Kurosaki and Ruri wait for MC, who informs them Yumi is in the library for a meeting. Kurosaki insists they settle things today. Since it's after school, the bodyguards might be gone, so they set off for the library. On the way, MC peers through a window and thinks he spots someone. Kurosaki rushes ahead while Ruri, bad with directions, wanders off looking for Yumi. She overhears two boys talking about who Yumi is with and pretends to be a lost first year, asking for help. One boy notes her red ribbon, which only second years wear, but she deflects and asks if they're in Yumi's class, saying she's a huge fan. They proudly call themselves her bodyguards and invite her to join, saying, "Girls are welcome." Ruri decides to play along for now and silently wishes MC and Kurosaki luck. Meanwhile, Kurosaki checks her phone and guesses Ruri got lost. She and MC, waiting awkwardly, climb the stairs toward the library. Kurosaki says time's running out, and as they reach the door, MC notes how smoothly things are going. Kurosaki agrees, though a little uneasy. As they wait, MC reflects on how he wants to apologize to Yumi and wonders how they used to walk together when they were dating. Kurosaki nudges him and tells him it's time to follow the plan. He thanks her and heads inside, smiling back as she gives him a thumbs up. Inside, MC prepares to talk to Yumi, while outside, Kurosaki starts to feel nervous. She imagines MC and Yumi getting back together, walking out of the library side by side, and the thought makes her drop to her knees in distress, whispering that she doesn't want that to happen. Just then, Yumi approached her with a sharp smile and asked what she was trying to accomplish. Caught off guard, Kurosaki realizes the plan might not be going the way they had hoped. Yumi bluntly tells her to stop clinging to MC, their plan, it seems, may have already failed. In the library, MC feels confused and anxious as he searches for Asakawa but can't find her anywhere. He thinks that if she isn't here, there's no way he can fix things between them even after both girls tried to help. The idea strikes him that maybe Asakawa is avoiding him. After all, she was the one who broke up with him first, and they even had a fight right in the middle of the classroom, so it would make sense for her to want to avoid him now. But then he remembers the expression on her face during their breakup, how worried she looked, and wonders if that was closer to her real feelings. Maybe Asakawa still likes him, and maybe, if they clear the air, they could at least return to being friends. But even as he thinks about that, he starts to feel nervous, uncertain about what he actually wants to happen between them. With these thoughts swirling in his head, he finally steps out of the library, only to hear a voice nearby asking someone if they confessed to MC and it didn't work out. Curious, he looks in that direction and sees Asakawa and Kurosaki, his junior, arguing with each other. He realizes that stepping in now might escalate things, so he holds back and listens. Asakawa tells Kurosaki that her breakup with MC happened because of a misunderstanding. She had lied, saying she found someone else, and MC believed her. Kurosaki is blunt, saying that it's Asakawa's own fault for not telling the truth and letting the lie stand. Flustered, Asakawa asks if that really makes her the one to blame, and Kurosaki steps forward, saying that as a girl, she understands, she too wanted to hear "I love you" from MC first. She explains that in a relationship without any confession or affection, it's natural to feel insecure, and that sometimes all it takes is one honest line to fix everything. Hearing that, MC listens closely as Kurosaki clarifies that from her perspective, it's all MC's fault because Asakawa just wanted to hear those words from him. Kurosaki then asks if Asakawa has been feeling anxious this whole time, and says that yes, MC may not act like the perfect boyfriend, but he's always perceptive, always noticing when someone needs help, always forgiving and accepting everything, so much so that she ended up depending on him more than she realized. But then she pauses, and with a confident look, says that hiding behind insecurities will only doom a relationship. She tells Asakawa that if she wants to fix things, she has to trust them and express her feelings openly. If she talks to MC, he'll listen and respond. Asakawa, overwhelmed, can only ask, "Listen to what?" Kurosaki tells her to stop running and be honest. If she can't even do that, then she's no better than a child. The harsh words push Asakawa over the edge. Angry, she charges toward Kurosaki and swings her hand, clearly intending to slap her. Kurosaki is stunned and frozen in place, but just before the slap lands, MC steps between them to stop her, only to get slapped himself instead. Shocked, Asakawa stares at him in disbelief and says, "No way," worried about what just happened. But before she can say anything more, MC tells her they need to talk. Standing beside Kurosaki, he looks calmly at Asakawa, who still seems confused, repeating, "Talk about it," and asking if he heard everything. MC tells her that if she was confused, she should have just asked, and adds that they should have talked things through more, especially when she lied. He tells her he never wanted to break up with her, because he still likes her. Hearing that, Asakawa's face lights up with joy, while Kurosaki silently looks down, clearly saddened. Asakawa steps forward and happily says, "Then you still like me." If that's the case, but before she can finish, MC interrupts her, saying gently but firmly, "Getting back together, that's not happening."